Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are Black Readers Con. We are here every week to greet you and talk about a new bookish topic. And just to remind you that we have the Black Readers Conference, the second annual Black Readers Conference in New York and virtually October 28th through the 30th this year, 2022. So save the date, and we'll have details soon how to register and all that. So thank you for coming. This week we will be talking about mysteries and thrillers, and because we want to celebrate that we're in New York this year, we had the assignment. I think Kelly might have met it because Kelly's always great at assignments to find some women mystery and thriller authors from New York.
Well, I got both
We have
sexes.
my
Not
name is
everybody's
Summer.
from New York, but they're all black.
Oh, there we go. My name is Summer. I'm Summer Reads Romance on Instagram and Facebook. And we have Kay, Karen. She's Kay the Reader on Instagram and the TikTok,
No, on YouTube. YouTube.
YouTube and Instagram. And we have Kels is booked up, Kelly, and Kels is booked up on Instagram,
And
TikTok,
Cuddles.
and Twitter.
Cuddles. hmm And we have Cuddles
And Cuddles the cat. Hi,
Hey,
Cuddles.
Cuddles. Hey, Cuddles.
Well, with mysteries, we need a. Don't we always need a cat with mysteries?
with a cozy mystery. Yes,
Yeah.
cozy mysteries have a cat.
Okay. All right.
He's like, "Mommy, you were gone for like 4 or 5 days, and
So,
she won't leave me alone right now." Oh yeah.
so
So I'm
I'm
starting.
gonna start with Kelly. Kelly.
Hello, hello, hello. So
So Kelly, who do you have for us? That
I got me a list. We got us a list. We got us a list. So I am a huge mystery and thriller buff. I read like I love science on the psychological thrillers. I love just murder mysteries. So if somebody's about to be dead, could possibly be dead, who killed them, and things like that, that's my jam. So some of the authors and books that I came up with was Dwayne Alexander Smith, who wrote 40 Acres, and he wrote another book too, and he's from the Bronx. So 40 Acres is about imagine slavery in modern times, but the black people are not the slaves, and all of that would entail and trying to pull that off in modern times, the ethical dilemma of that, and basically having to deal with the morality, the privilege of getting revenge on people's ancestors, because it was very methodical how it was done the in the book. Like they didn't pick like random white people. um Another book that he has, I forget the name of the second book, but it dealt with a man and his child, and I forget the exact plot line, but it was really, really good. So he has two novels out, both mystery thrillers, and he's from the Bronx, New York. So, hey
The other
Raymond, hey
book.
Morris,
Hey,
48.
the other book is The Unkind Hours.
There we go. Thank you.
Loved it. Great book.
That's it's a totally dope book. Both books are great. My preference is 40 Acres, but I love both of them. But 40 Acres might be just because it's the first one I read by him. And 40 Acres is now being is optioned for film, is being produced by Jay-Z for a Netflix film. And Dwayne Alexander Smith is also a screenwriter as well. So you might have seen stuff that he's written and not even known it that's on TV. So there's my first guy. Then we have the King Walter Dean Myers. Was it Devil in a Red Dress and like 20 million other books? So just do a list of Walter Dean.
Mosley.
Is it? Oh,
Oh,
no, I'm sorry, Walter Dean. No, Walter Mosley. Well, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, tired.
I read that one. I love that series. Oh my goodness.
Myers is the young adult author. Okay,
Okay,
my
we'll correct that in the comment.
bad. Um, then we have Kelly Garrett, who has a new book called Like a Sister, and I think that she has other works, but her most recent release is Like a Sister, which is a thriller. I can't remember where she's from, but she is a Black woman. And I'm just going to throw this out here, and I'm going to throw out shade. There is Gracia Rich, who wrote Handkerchief, which is a trilogy, but there is only one book out in said trilogy, and we are anxiously waiting books 2 and 3. She is an independent author who I stalk from time to time, who is also part of Black Readers Con, and I am waiting for books 2 and 3 of Handkerchief. So in Handkerchief, we have a woman who's beautiful, who's smart, who's rich, who basically kills people for fun. And it's amazing and it's addictive. And where's books 2 and 3, Gracia? Where's books 2 and 3? Next, we have S.A. Cosby, who has written Blacktop Wasteland, which I have not read, but it is on my TBR, and Razorblade Tears, which is in front of me, but I can't grab it. Razorblade Tears is absolutely fantastic. It's his most recent release. It deals with two men who have sons that are in a same-sex relationship and marriage, and they're raising a child together, and then these sons get murdered. So the fathers get together to basically find out what happened to their children, and then we go on from there in the story. And the story takes you on this trippy ride. There's a Black father, a white father. The Black father is actually a little bit more well-to-do, but still working class. The white father is a little bit, he's struggling. And then we have the dynamics of those two. And you would think that you wouldn't like the white father so much because he says some kind of racist things, but he's really, really dope. So
I loved him. I loved Buddy. I loved him.
You're gonna end up rooting for him, like towards the middle, maybe not even as far as the middle. So, but Buddy is dope, and the way that they work together, it's just incredible. And the story just takes you all these twists and turns, and you realize that like they not as innocent as you think they is.
And
So,
Kelly, let's pause here for a second. Let's slow down and pause for just a second. When you were reading the book, I wonder if you did like I did. Did you start casting the characters in your mind? Because I
no,
started casting. You didn't?
mm-mm.
Okay,
I
so
never do that.
I do that most of the time. I read a book, I start casting. Do you know who I pictured as Buddy Lee?
Who?
Woody Harrelson. He had to be country.
You
He
know,
had
I
to be
didn't even
old enough.
I didn't even
Go ahead, Summer.
I didn't even read it, but the way that Kelly described him, I thought about Woody Harrelson when you said
Yes,
that.
because he had to be Southern. He had to he had to be off kilter. He had to be old enough to have an adult son. But dislikable, like she said, kind of in the beginning, but then midway through, you're like, oh, I really like him. And to me, I said, that's Woody Harrelson. He is Buddy Lee. I had a harder time trying to think about I forgot his name. The black guy, what's his name?
I don't remember.
I just finished the book. That's what's funny, is I just finished it.
I finished it like a month ago. That's
I
going.
I had a harder time casting him in my head. But then I started thinking Ving Rhames would be like big enough to play him. I don't know, but Buddy Lee is Woody Harrelson in my mind. So, but yeah, that was such a good book.
No, I'm thinking of for Buddy Lee. Who is the guy that played the rich guy in the Shawshank Redemption that got locked up?
Oh, Tim.
It's not Tim Reed, right? It's Tim.
No. Let me look him up.
Is it Robin?
I could see him doing that.
Timothy Robbins.
Robbins. Thank you,
Raymond knows
Raymond.
everything.
Yeah, Raymond. Thank you, Raymond.
So I could see him doing that. I'm trying to think of the Black father. Who can I see portraying the Black father?
Yeah, I had a harder time with that one. Like I said, Ving Rhames is big, but he wasn't exactly the father, but I said who else fit that description as an actor. But what I loved about the book, it was the fact that neither father, like you said, neither father were they weren't necessarily good guys, right? Because of all the stuff that they were into, but they uh you just can't help but really empathize with them, and you're just drawn to them, and you want them to be okay, and you want them to win, of course you do. I just like the way he wrote those characters, and I just don't understand why I cannot remember the dad's name, but I'm going to find it.
I'm trying to think. I think the guy from Green Mile, but he passed away. I think he might have been a good dad
Yeah.
for for that character. But I think S.A. Crosby, I think he's Sean Crosby.
Yeah.
He wrote them real. He wrote them with flaws. He wrote them in such a way that even though they were flawed, you were still rooting for them. Like
Mhm.
they had past that were kind of dark, but it's like, you know what would you do if somebody murdered your son? Maybe you
Yeah.
need a past like that to help you
Mhm.
do what you need to do.
His name was Randolph.
Oh.
They called him Riot. Remember, they called him Riot, but his name was Randolph. Ike Randolph. That's his name, Ike.
So was
Ike
that
is
a mystery or a thriller?
I'll call it thriller.
it's a thriller. Yeah.
Call it thriller.
Hmm.
I think that would be a thriller. Next, I'm gonna go with YA. I would say Tiffany Jackson is a thriller writer with Allegedly and Monday's Not Coming.
Hmm.
So those two definitely would fit that, and the endings floor you, and you're on pins
Yes.
and needles as you're reading both books. Allegedly deals with a young girl who's
Mhm.
in the foster care system, and she's accused of something with a child. She's having trouble with her biological mother. She's having trouble in the system. There's accusations thrown around, and this book is her first book. It's absolutely amazing, and it'll floor you. Even as an adult, it will floor you.
Yes, it will. I enjoyed it. I was that my first. No, I read Monday's Not Coming first, and I thought, wow, let me go back and see what Allegedly is about. When I read that and I got to the end, I was like, whoa, what did she just do here? I wasn't expecting it at all.
And then she's also from Brooklyn, so we got us a New York Black woman. And Monday's Not Coming, it's loosely based on children that went missing in either DC or Detroit. I forget which is state. I think it's DC maybe. But she loosely based it on a story where a couple of kids went missing and nobody knew where they went. These kids just got lost in the system, and these kids went missing. And then she
Mm.
writes this plot line about it. Now I read it. It's a very disturbing book, and it's told. And not I want to say it's told. It's not really told in alternating perspective. It's told in like past, present. Like it alternates time frame. Um, but the book is amazing. A lot of people. It made a lot of people cry. Maybe I'm a cold-hearted New Yorker, so I didn't cry, but I was floored by the end of it, and it's just like whoa. So you can also have thrillers that are in the young adult genre as well, and
Mhm.
I think Tiffany Jackson needs to be mentioned here in this conversation.
Yeah. And Monday's Not Coming. When I first read that, and like you were saying, how she kind of journeys back and forth between the past and present, I was a little confused. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? But and at first I was like, why did she write it this way? I like a lot of times the book to follow chronological order, but once I got like midway through, I understood exactly why she had to write it that way. And yeah, just another one that was just really good, really good.
It messes you up. I finished it and
Mhm.
then I reread it. I'm like, whoa. because it really is trippy with the past, with the different timelines, and it's like I forget exactly how she titles it. It's like before and after, or hold on, I got the book right here. I'm on Anthony's shelf.
You're going to get in trouble.
It says Anthony's book. And it's signed to him. Mine's got damaged in a flood. Mine was lower, so I lost mine.
No.
So it's called The Before, and then the next chapter would be called, hold on, where are you? We have The Before. Where are you? And okay, 1 year before and The Before. Like, so she names the chapters like that. Then the next one, so each one is named a little bit differently. So we have before, the 1 year before, and then it's like really, then we have November, we have 2 years before the before. So that's how the chapters are named. You know, Aunt can watch this later, right? He's not in the living room with me right now. I asked him if he wanted to work beside me, but he chose to be in another room. So, and you know what? I'm not going to put it back on a shelf. I'm just going to put it on this little table next to me. And maybe he'll figure out that
he is going to know you touched his book.
Maybe he should have been out here with me.
Oh, the suspense.
He reads mysteries and thrillers as much as me. I asked him to join us. Maybe he should have joined us, black man. Just saying. But my next suggestion is Tracy Brown, Single Black Female. I don't remember where she's from. I desperately want to read this book. Robert's Reading Room and a whole bunch of other people talk about this book, and it seems super good, and I want to read it. So that's a thriller that's really popular.
Is it a Netflix series or something, or a movie? There's a movie, Single Black
Came
Female.
on Lifetime about a month ago, I think.
Is that what the book?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's from the book, but I remember seeing that.
I think it was. I think the Lifetime movie came from that book. And if I'm not right about that, and anyone who's watching saw it, you can correct in the comments. But I do believe that the TV show, the TV movie was based on that book.
Did not know that, but cool. Let's see. I have Alyssa Cole for When No One Is Watching, which is based in Brooklyn, if I remember correctly. I read about half of the book. I haven't read the full book yet, so I'm like halfway through it. And I think it's Brooklyn. I think it's based in Brooklyn. And I think that's her only thriller so far, Alyssa Cole. Alyssa Cole normally writes romance.
Yeah, I think that was her first outside of romance, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's probably her most recent release as well. We also have Victor LaValle. His titles are escaping me, but he writes thrillers as well, several different ones. And fun fact, he was actually Anthony's mentor at one of his schools. We have Oyinkan Brathwaite, My Sister, the Serial Killer. Short, funny, sweet, murder, freaking awesome. The book is like barely longer than a novella, and you have the two sisters. The title says what it is. My sister's a serial killer. Mm-hmm. What would you do for your sister to make sure that your sister is okay? You love your sister, but your sister keeps killing people. This book
that's one. That's one of those that people either love it or hate it. There's like no in between.
That is exactly how people feel about that book. There's very strong opinions on that book. So you're either gung-ho, like how I am, or other people like where they hate it. Like, well, how would this person do this and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you never know how ride or die you're going to be for your family. But My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Brathwaite is fire. Easy 5-star read. And there's an audiobook which is fantastic for it as well. I think every book that I've mentioned except for Gracia's book is an audiobook. And Gracia, whenever you watch this book 2 and 3, we waiting. We waiting.
I bought Handkerchief. I haven't read it yet, but I definitely have it on my list to try to get to this year.
When is she gonna get to book 2 and 3? What's the rush? You're
So
just gonna get heartbroken.
you're saying I could take my time in reading Handkerchief because I'm going to have to wait for 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when I found out about the book, I didn't realize it was a trilogy, and then when it ended, I realized, and I'm just heartbroken. I've been heartbroken for about a year now. I'm just saying, she did that, and she won't give me the next book. She won't
You
give us
look
the
so
next
serious,
book.
Kelly.
We've
So
talked about this. I've texted her. I've called her. I'm not pleased.
Is that why you went down to visit her?
I'm just. I've been trying to visit Gracia. I haven't seen Gracia in person. I saw Kay in person. Gracia's like
Oh, okay.
more on the coast, but I will see Gracia in person, and we have a problem in our relationship. We're working on it, and hopefully things work out for the best. But I've been severely disappointed in her and the way that she's been treating me and this publishing journey that she's on. And I need books 2 and 3. Handle your business, Gracia. Handle your business. Alicia's saying stalker, Kelly. And my last author is Rachel Housel Hall with They All Fall Down. I want to read this book. I have not read this book yet, but I am very interested in reading this book.
I think I've heard
Raymond.
a lot about her. She's a pretty
Yeah.
popular mystery author, right?
Yes.
But Kay, thank you, Kelly, for giving us your list. It's very thorough. Kay, can you break down what the different types of mysteries and thrillers are? Are there different types of thrillers, or well, I guess
There,
there's psychological thrillers and different things like that.
yes, there are. I can do that. Because a lot of times, and of course, you never know who's going to watch the video, and we can't make assumptions about what people know about different book types and different genres, and especially in the mystery, thriller, suspense vein. There are different types, and I'm not going to go into all of them because there are a lot of different ones. But before I do that, I do want to answer Raymond's question. Raymond, the book that had a movie adaptation on Lifetime was Single Black Female by Tracy Brown. And it aired on Lifetime, I think it was about a month ago, and it starred Gabrielle Sidibe, and I cannot remember the other young lady's name, but she used to play on Being Mary Jane with Gabrielle Union, but I can't remember the young lady's name at this moment. But that was the book that Kelly was talking about.
I'm going to have to try to find this after this live. I want to see this.
Yeah. So, Summer, Amber Riley, thank you. Was it Amber? Oh, I said Gabrielle Sidibe, didn't I? It was Amber Riley and somebody and the other girl. Anyway, let me let me tell you about the mysteries. Thank you, Raymond. Let me tell you about the differences in the mystery genre. So, first of all, a mystery is simply a book where you're putting a puzzle together. That's the long and short of it. Doesn't necessarily have to be a murder mystery. They could be searching for a cure to something. They could be looking for a treasure. Raven Goodwin was the other actress. Thank you, Raymond. But yeah, so a mystery doesn't necessarily have to be a murder, but most of the time that is the puzzle that is being solved in a book. It is a murder. A thriller is more of a push and pull between a protagonist and an antagonist. Thrillers are usually faster paced and shorter chapters. I found that most thrillers have shorter chapters, and that you may not get into really knowing the protagonist or antagonist that well because it's more plot driven. There's that, like I said, that cat and mouse game going on between the two, and it's a struggle, and it's usually um, like a very high adrenaline rush type of thing where you can't wait to turn the next page to find out what's going to happen next. And many times the protagonist is put into these extraordinary circumstances where they have to make something to escape or figure out a way to escape something, how to diffuse a bomb, or whatever the case may be. It's something extraordinary usually. A cozy mystery, or let me back up, a suspenseful novel can come across almost any genre. It's just full of tension, right? So you can have suspense in mysteries and suspense in thrillers and in other genres. A cozy mystery is one that is lighter in tone. You really don't get to see the murder occur. It's usually already occurred. And the person who is trying to solve the mystery in this case is an amateur sleuth. They are not a professional detective or police officer. An amateur in a cozy mystery could be a dog walker, a baker, a teacher, a postman, just somebody who stumbles upon a mystery and they're trying to put the pieces together to solve it. Cozy mysteries normally have no or very little profanity. Sex is implied, but it's not on the page. And the murders are not described in any type of gruesome way. So, Summer, as someone, I know you don't read a lot of, you like the happily ever after stories, but if you were to delve into the mystery genre, cozy mystery might suit you better than some of the others.
Yeah,
Then
A
you
I used to read my mysteries back in the day,
okay.
but yeah, I think cozy. I've considered cozy. I just
Mhm.
don't like the murder part, but
You the
the
ones
way you
with the
described it,
kitties, the kitties and the puppies. Those are really cute. You know what
Yeah.
cozy mysteries
you
remind
know,
me of? They
it's
remind
still
me of like Columbo.
murder, kiss, kitty.
I don't know.
I've thought about it. I've considered it.
Yeah, they remind me of like a Columbo episode. It'd be like, aha. But it's nothing too gruesome, it's nothing too crazy, but you
Right.
get a little bit of a thrill. I just want to
Mhm.
talk a little bit of smack. So this is the book that, we do not have a sequel for. So this book, Handkerchief, Gracia Rich,
Mhm.
this is what we're lacking, book 2 and 3. Like, and then Kat from Books and Vogue did a great cover, like a recreation of the cover. So
Yeah.
did the Reading Room 444 Mika, and yeah, where's books 2 and 3? So I'm 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 working on myself. I'm in therapy. I talked to my therapist about this, that I need to be patient for publishing, but it's been important.
Your therapist had to tell you that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We working on it. We working on it.
But some other mysteries that people may enjoy are police procedural. And this is where the protagonist of the book is a police officer of some sort. It could be a local police officer, a sheriff, it could be even military police in some cases. So just know that police procedural has to have the protagonist as a police professional in some way. And then you have your detective series. Now, even with detectives, there are subgenres, or I won't say subgenres necessarily, but there are different types of, well, I guess you would say that because there are different types of detectives. You have your super intelligent detective, the one that just knows everything. You're like, how did they figure that out? So easily with so few clues, but they do. And then you have your bumbling detective. That's the one that is constantly making mistakes along the way, but somehow, some way, they end up solving the mystery in the end. You have the private detective. You have the hard-boiled detectives or hard-boiled mysteries where the detective has a very tumultuous past, is carrying a lot of baggage, has a lot of demons that he or she, of course, may be fighting. A lot of times in the hard boiled, I find that the detectives are sometimes a recovering alcoholic, or they have struggled with a divorce, or and a lot of times, and you've seen this in TV and movies, right, where they made a mistake along the way and their partner ended up getting killed. And now they have a chip on their shoulder. They don't want a new partner, but they're very good at what they do. Even with all the troubles they have, they're able to solve the crime in the end.
You know what
Looks
that
like we
makes
have
me
some.
think about? That makes me
Why?
think of Last Boy Scout movie with
Hmm.
Damon Wayans and was it Bruce
Bruce
Willis,
Willis.
and then Die Hard with Bruce Willis, where you have
Yeah.
like the struggling detective with the family issues,
Hmm.
but they're getting the job done. So,
Yeah.
and never say military police around Anthony. He hates the MPs.
Yeah, there's some names in the comments. So Mr. Magoo, where Raymond said Mr. Magoo. So what would he would be the bumbling
I would
detective?
think so.
Yeah,
I
okay.
would think so. He's
And
certainly not hard boiled.
and Alicia Allen says, "Dan Brown books are smart guys." So that's the Da Vinci Code, right? I read that. That was pretty good. That was a page turner, definitely. And then, of course, we have Sherlock.
Summer, you might like this romantic suspense. And those novels, of course, are where two people who may be complete opposites, maybe not, but they're thrown into some type of precarious situation. They have to solve some kind of mystery, and along the way, they happen to fall in love. But there's some good tension all along the way as they're doing this.
Yeah, Beverly
Um,
Jenkins, most of her contemporary romance. She has I mean, her contemporary romances are romantic suspense. So, I'll hold out for her, even though it does get a little violent. But they're all really good, especially her novella that she just did last year, Rare Danger. Oh my goodness, yeah, that had you on the edge of your seat, even though it was a novella.
Uh-oh.
Now, so yours, of course, have a happily ever after, correct?
Of course.
Of course. Yeah. I don't think a romance cannot have a happily ever after. I think the by definition a romance has to have that,
It's
correct?
supposed to. Yeah,
Okay.
I've been fooled.
I don't think that's true. I read some that were romances that did not have the happily ever afters, but you had the love story.
That
Oh.
means they were misclassified. That was not a romance.
Maybe that was what about contemporary romance? Do those have to have a happily ever after?
Romance. If I'm reading a romance novel, I know that I have it happily ever after. That is
Okay.
my definition of romance. That's how I understand romance to be. It could be a romantic genre,
Yeah.
a romantic drama, or it could have be a story with contemporary fiction with romantic
Mhm.
elements. But
Okay.
But
romance should have happily
there
ever
are
after,
romances
or
where
happy for now.
there are
Happy for
romances
now.
where there's a beautiful story and maybe somebody dies at the end. That's not a happily ever after, but it was a beautiful love story.
Oh.
Not a
Look at
romance.
summer.
There is the debate in the romance community, but nah, happily ever after is a romance.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not reading a Notebook. I'll just tell you that much.
Well, I know. Okay, so the Notebook to you is not a romance.
I haven't read it or saw it, but too many people crying at the end, make me think, nah, it's not up my alley.
Okay, so and then I have one more that I'm just going to mention. I really like this genre, and it's legal thriller. And this is where it's usually a lawyer, but it could be a paralegal or a court official. But there is a legal case that needs to be solved, and the lawyer or paralegal, they're looking for the actual truth because they know something's not right, and they're searching for the actual truth. So I love legal thrillers. one of my favorites. But I can read any. I don't have to have a happily ever after, and maybe that's why I don't read a lot of romance. But
That's
in the what I like is like with the legal thrillers or the police procedurals. I love it when they you go through all this angst, and then at the end they solve the crime, maybe, and then you're left with a cliffhanger because one small thing happens at the end, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. And then you have to wait for the next book. I kind of love those things. I like that. So, Kelly, what would you how would you classify Allegedly?
It's a young adult novel. I would
Mhm.
classify it as a suspense thriller.
Mm, mhm.
I think it's very suspenseful. So like suspense slash thriller. I would classify that.
Yeah. And what about psychological too? Because
Oh, ooh,
mm, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I can see that.
Mhm.
I can see that too. And sometimes books can kind of be classified as multiple different things. So
Mhm.
I can see that. I
Yeah.
can see that too.
So for those who have just come in, hi, Kenneth Perkins Jr., welcome. We are talking about mysteries and thrillers. Initially, Kelly has given us a list of books by authors from New York, and now we're talking about the genre in general, mystery, thriller, suspense in general. I did write down a few books, but they are not all by authors from New York because that was such a hard task. It was kind of hard.
Not
Um,
all of them are from New York either. Some of them.
so I found a few books by Black authors. So and a couple of them I had not heard of. So the first one, her name is Nikisa Afia. She's from Canada, but she has a Harlem Renaissance mystery series. The first book is Dead Dead Girls, and that one was published last year. And she has another book that will be published this year called Harlem Sunset. So I had never heard of her, and I didn't know if anyone else had heard of her. And then there's another author, Wanda Morris. She wrote a book called All Her Little Secrets, and that one is a thriller, and another book called Anywhere You Run, and that one is going to be released this year. So I will put those books down in the chat. Um, I had My Sister the Serial Killer on my list. Kelly's already mentioned that one. And then this one, Speaking of Summer by Kalisha Buchanan. Autumn Spencer and her friend are trying to figure out what happened to Autumn's sister Summer, who disappeared in Harlem. And she finds stories of other women in her search for her sister, women who have maybe been murdered or have gone missing. So those are the only few books that I had specifically to mention. Um, and all of them, although they're not all related to New York, those are the ones that I could find.
well, I actually had back back in the day before my reading hiatus and became workaholic. I did read mysteries and I read a couple of thrillers. I read one thriller that I really loved. Probably wouldn't have read it today, but and I hope I don't mess up her name. Tanari Dew. She had the book My Soul to Keep. I don't
Tannen
know.
arrived due, I think it is.
Anna Revive.
Tannen
Yeah,
arrived due. I think that's the thing. Sorry.
she had this book, My Soul to Keep. I actually recently found out there were like four more books in the series. I read the first two books, and oh my goodness, that book was so good. It was about a immortal meeting. I guess it could be people would think it's a romance. It's really a thriller though. It's an immortal meeting a I can't remember what her job was. Um, but the whole he fell in love with someone and he was trying to like bring her into his world, and I don't want to spoil it or anything, but the whole process and finding out what his deal was, and his history and all that, it was just a
What
really
was the name of it again, Summer? Because I read it.
soul, my soul to keep.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yeah. That's why, and that book is the reason why if somebody speaks like 20 languages, I don't trust them. It's that book. And then I used to read Valerie Wilson Wesley. I can't
Mhm.
pick out a book as a favorite for I know When Death Comes Stealing was one of hers. Devil's Gonna Get Him. It's just I used to love her books. Those are both in the 90s. And then, of course, Walter Mosley and Easy Rollins. I love the Devil in the Blue Dress series. I know I had to read the Devil in the Blue Dress at least twice. I probably should read it again because it's been so long. But I tell you, I love that series so much. All his characters were he just has great character development, and like the scenes that he set in like I think it was like the 50s, 60s LA. It's just great. It was just great. If you haven't read Walter Mosley and you're interested, you should go for it.
I just bought a Walter Mosley book from a library sale in Massachusetts yesterday, but I can't remember the title. And the book is like somewhere back there.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not sure. He does have some other ones, but yeah. Oh, Alicia said all old vampires speak
That's what
over 100 languages. See, I told you if you speak over 20 languages, you could stay right over there because I've read your book. I've read a few of them. But yeah. But I don't know. I might try the cozy mystery. I love figuring things out. So that's my favorite thing about mysteries. The thrillers, I used to love them just because I like the excitement. But now life has enough excitement for me. I don't need that anymore. What about you guys? What do you love about mysteries and thrillers?
Oh, I love trying to figure it out. That's my thing. And but even if, because I used to read constantly mysteries and thrillers, for a while, I mean, that was pretty much it for me. That all the time, that's what I wanted to listen to in the car. And I just find them exciting, especially the thrillers, because I am trying to um, I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen, of course, but I'm trying to pick up all the context clues so that I could solve it before the protagonist does. I love that kind of thing. But yeah, in a regular mystery though, yeah, I will go back, I will try to pick up clues and figure, well, how did I miss that? When the character said that, maybe let me make note of that. I'm always trying to play detective in my mind. And I guess that goes along with always like watching the ID channel, they're trying to figure out who did it, or Fatal Attraction. I'm like, I'm going to figure this out before the police do. I'm going to figure this out before the end of the episode. It's the same thing for me when I'm reading a mystery book. I want to outsmart the author. I want to figure it out before they reveal it to me. And so it's a thrill ride for me trying to see if I could put all the clues together and solve it.
Yeah, that's a hard thing for me with audiobooks and mysteries because you can't go back and say, "Wait a minute, that woman in the store, didn't she say something?" It's hard to go back with the books. You can go like, "Wait, in chapter 4."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Let me tell you though, I also like Brendan Massey. Now his books are very suspenseful. They lean more, I don't know if you would say horror, but maybe they lean that way, but they are very suspenseful. And he had a book, I'm not sure if it was Dark Corner, which is vampires, which makes it was so good. Um but I was driving, I was driving home, and I promise you, everything he said, he said the date in the book. and I'm listening to the audiobook, and it happened to be the same date that I'm in the car listening to the book, right? And he says it's kind of cloudy, in the sky. And I look up, I'm like, okay, it's kind of cloudy. What's going on here? It freaked me out.
That was me
Yeah,
with
but I'm
reading
gripping the
Octavia
steering wheel
Butler.
like this. I'm gripping the steering wheel like this. I'm like, okay, what's really going on? But let me tell you, I really enjoy his books and the way that he writes, and his thrillers are very dark, very suspenseful, but just so enjoyable. I really like him. So I highly recommend Brandon Massey if you like that kind of dark, mysterious, suspenseful kind of tale. Kind of puts you in the mind of Tananarive Summer. So yeah, Brandon Massey. Now he has one book, Nana. I've started it twice on audio and I can't listen to it because it has freaked me out. And I said, maybe I need to read Nana instead of listening to it because, yeah, that ain't working for me.
Yeah,
Meaning,
I've screamed while
it
listening
gave
to
me
a
the
book
creeps, so I
before,
couldn't.
or especially when you get to the romantic suspense. I've been in the kitchen and said, ah. But yeah,
You know,
Hmm.
I'm the
yeah,
opposite of you. I like the
uh,
page turner aspect of a thriller and a psychological thriller. And I don't want to really focus too much on who. Like if it kind of comes in my head a little bit, I'll think about it. But I love the willingness of disbelief in reading a book. So I want to be shocked. I don't want to like try to outsmart them. I want to just kind of just be like a blank slate. I'm just taking what you're giving me, and that's it. And then I want to be totally surprised at the end, hopefully. So I don't want to think too much. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. If it happens to come to me, that's about it. But I don't want to think too hard on it. I want that shock. I don't want to try to think like, okay, let me figure this out, and this and this and this and this. Like I think that it takes away from the book for me. So sometimes Anthony and I will listen to psychological thrillers in the car, and he's like, "What do you think? And what do you think?" And I think I'm like, "Shut up! I don't want to hear it. Don't go put the thought in my head. I really just want the surprise and the thrill of it because I think that's the fun part for me. The fun
Yeah,
part is like getting shocked.
yeah.
I think because oh,
Alicia's comment, about the Octavia Butler. She was saying she was on. Octavia did that to me too. I was on the 5 freeway listening to the audiobook, talking about them walking on the 5. I think that's something that, even though she's not a thriller author, although I don't know, she might be. she might she might be sci-fi thriller, but when people make it these stories realistic enough, that just really puts that creep factor into it.
yeah, yeah. But Kelly, I know I do like trying to figure it out, but even for the books where they're somewhat predictable, and I'm like, okay, I kind of know what's going to happen. I like the journey that the author takes me on to get to the conclusion because you never know what twists and turns they may throw in along the way. And I could say, okay, I might have figured out who did it, but I didn't know how they did it, or I didn't know all this other stuff, went on in the book before the revelation of the fact that they did it. So I kind of like that. But yeah, I'm always I read thrillers and mysteries so much at one point I thought, maybe I need to change careers. Maybe I need to be a detective. Knowing good well, the minute I saw a dead body, it would be over for me.
Yeah, it'd be like Castle.
I'd be like, nope,
Murder She Wrote.
can't do this. I'll see y'all later. I can't do it. But yeah, I just love the genre, and there's so many good mystery and thriller writers out there. So many.
I'm the oddball here. I've worked for the medical examiner's office, so the bodies aren't new for me.
Not for me.
Kate's like, no,
Uh,
no, no.
Raymond says Investigator K on the scene.
Come on, Kay, come to the dark side.
And Kelly will be the one.
Just give me transcripts and let me I can figure stuff out, but I don't want to see the body. I don't want to touch anything. No, but I do wish we had, and I'm glad that we do have, but I do wish we had so many more people writing, Black people writing mystery and thrillers. We have so many who and I don't mean any harm, Summer, but a lot of them are right, or the contemporary romance is like a lot of people are writing contemporary romance, um, and just contemporary fiction in general, literary fiction. But yeah, I love thrillers. Like some of my favorite mystery and thriller writers are not Black, and I just wish I need more. I need more.
There are more. There's a lot of indie authors that write thrillers and write
Hmm.
mysteries. It's just that they're not well publicized and they're not well advertised and things like that. So you don't really know about them. But there's a
Hmm.
ton. If you really hunt, there's a ton of indie authors that write in that genre, and they're Black and they're brown and they're doing their thing.
Well, that's good to know. That's good. I really do wish that they could get the acknowledgement. You know, has anyone read Nicole Glover's books? No, I have not heard of her, Raymond. Not that I can remember. What about you, Kelly? You've heard of so many
I've
people.
heard of her, but I haven't read her books.
Mm.
That seems to be a trend with Black authors in across the genres. At least I know for romance, a lot of people. Even I didn't before I started reading it, I didn't realize how many Black romance authors were writing so many different things. And I remember watching a IG live with I believe DL White, and I can't remember who the host was, but they were
Mhm.
talking about Black mystery writers. And so it's like I know that people are out there. I know I'm gonna find my paranormal and sci-fi people. It's like
Thanks for that. Thanks for that reminder. I do. It was Classy, I think. I
oh,
think it
was
was
it?
DL and Classy did a night where they were talking. Yes, thank you for that reminder. I can go back and watch that video.
Oh, Raymond has what Nicole
Another
Glover wrote. Okay, she wrote The Conductors, a historical mystery set in Philly. Ooh.
Yeah, then it has a sequel. The sequel to The Conductors came out. I think it's a sequel. Maybe it's a companion novel. I think this year or late last year. I forget the name of it.
Yes, and I see there are comments like Marla Morris has a comment. There's a site called Crime Writers of Color, and they have a database. I think I've actually even been on that data. I think I've actually been on that website and I've seen some of those. But a lot of the writers that I saw on there were not the books weren't as recent, I guess, as I would have liked to have seen on that particular website. And then Tracy Mintnall says there are tons of AA thriller writers. Hugh Houghton was amazing. I've never been able to compare him to anyone. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Thank you both for sharing.
But yeah, that's what Black Readers Con is all about. We're
All
the ones
about.
looking for the Black readers. We're looking for the Black authors, and you
Yeah.
know, we're the ones doing the searching. So
Mhm.
we have to share with the community.
Yeah. Thank you all for sharing that. Crime
Yeah.
Writers of Color. And yeah. So I need to go out and do some more research and see what else I can find out there.
Yeah, you guys might make me. I don't know about thrillers, but you guys might bring me over to mysteries. That historical mystery set in Philly. That sounds that one sounds interesting.
And let me just encourage everyone who's watching that feel free to come back to this video, whether it be here on Facebook or on YouTube, and go to the comment section and type in as many Black mystery thriller authors as you could think of, or share some great book titles of books that you've read. I think that that would be great. And since the comments don't disappear, we'll be able to go back and look at the titles and at the authors, and we'll be able to look up the books, add them to our TBRs, and not like they're already not exploding, but we can add a few books to our TBRs to check out later. So thank you all so much for sharing that information in the
Sensing
comments.
some shade at IG about the comments not disappearing.
I think on IG sometimes it might be good that they disappear.
Meta, do better.
Do better. And then, does anyone, before we close out, does anybody have any questions for Kelly, Summer, or myself?
Raymond said no shade, just stating facts.
Okay, Summer, I guess while we're waiting on comments, you can let everyone know about the activities for Black Readers Con.
Yes. In let's see, we have one more week of the intro to Black Readers Con, letting everybody reminding everyone to save the date for the October 28th and through the 30th. We're having the conference in New York. So we're having New York themed lives. We have Monday, we have Twitter Spaces at 8 p.m. It's 8 p.m. 5 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, with Kyra and DL. I'm not sure what they're talking about this week, but they've had some really great lives, kind of podcast style on Twitter Spaces, so don't miss that. On Wednesday, we have the Battle of the Boroughs, and we get to learn all different types of things about all the different boroughs of New York, kind of get us excited about New York and New York authors. Kelly is
BX
from,
slated
what
last
is
week.
what
BX
is that?
slated last week.
From
Literary
Bronx,
Fun Project.
Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, which I didn't realize Harlem was in Manhattan, and Queens,
Queens and
and
Staten Island.
Staten Island. Yeah, so all those represented with Black authors from there. So learn something and watch some some fun. I don't know. I can't say friendly battles. It get kind of messy in there. But all us non-New Yorkers can sit back and enjoy. Yeah, and then every Saturday on Facebook, we will next week will be April, and it will be the start of National Library Week, and we have Sandra from Friends of the. She's the Friends of the Library coordinator for the state of Massachusetts, I believe. And she's going to tell us all about how we can benefit from the
I
library.
met Sandra last night at the
Oh, did
library
you?
sale.
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah,
went
How
to
she's
the
nice
Friends
is
of the
that?
Library sale in Mills,
Neil
Massachusetts.
something.
And I became a friend
Yeah.
of the library and I met Sandra.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Kelly, you've met everybody.
Yeah, so she has tons of information on how you can make your library work for you. That's one thing I've learned about 10 years ago about how, our tax dollars are paying for these libraries, and they have all of these opportunities for
Oh,
us.
yeah.
You can, if you don't see the books you want there, you can request them, and she'll tell us all those details. And that's next Saturday at 8 p.m. Uh, Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific on Facebook Live and YouTube Live.
And Sandra's library is dope. She gave us a
Is
tour.
it?
There,
Oh, I would love to visit.
there is a section
Oh,
that just floored me of
look, I'm all into it.
random objects. You could rent a drill for 2 weeks from the library. You can rent a sewing machine from this library for 2 weeks. If you can't afford a
Wow.
doll for your child, they have like the All American dolls. You can rent the doll for 2 weeks. You can rent tools. You can rent like really random things. They call it like a random table. I'm
Wow.
like, wait, there was literally a sewing machine there, and you can rent it for 2 weeks with your library.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's your
Oh,
library.
I know the library, one of the libraries in my county, this time of year, you can go and get seeds for your gardens. You just go in and pick out the seeds you want and take the packets home. How
Yeah.
nice is that? I haven't taken advantage of that yet. I might need to do that this year, especially with my grandson, because he loves, working out in the yard. He might really appreciate that. So, yeah, libraries are wonderful. I always support libraries.
Yeah.
Alicia, it's the Mills Library in Mills, Massachusetts. It's
So that
about
will.
an hour outside of Boston.
Cool. Oh, I didn't know you met her. Yeah, she's awesome.
Met her
She
last
taught me
night.
more about. I thought I knew about the libraries. I didn't know anything. So you guys tune in, and
Yes, we're in for a treat next week.
yes, so
Yeah,
you'll learn
excited.
all about the libraries and all the different. I'm sure there's lots of library events. We're talking to her on the second. Library week starts on the third, so you can visit your library and use that
Let me tell
knowledge.
you whose library goes, and that is Licia, because she has cards to, I don't know, 10 or more libraries.
Oh, she has me beat. I have 6 library
I
cards.
only have three. I'm way behind. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week.
Oh wow, Tracy Mit Mitnall tells us more. Oh, sorry.
I'm
Wow.
sorry, I didn't
They
mean
have
to hit it
musical
off.
instruments. I heard they had a ukulele you can rent.
Wow.
It's
I see.
amazing. I didn't know libraries did
I'm
that. I've never
learning
seen
new.
that
Wow.
19.
before.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
I want to be like
Wonderful.
Alicia when I grow up.
Yes. Yes. Bravo.
Yeah.
I don't know of anyone who has close to that many. Wow.
I thought I was doing good with 6. So I need to get on it.
I thought I was something with three.
I thought it was someone with four.
Well, you know what? I have to, okay, so in the next county over, and I know we're not talking about libraries tonight, but while we're talking about it, the next county over, I was able to just get a card, not a problem. But to access their digital downloads, I had to pay like $38 a year, and I said, well, that's better than paying a monthly subscription for audiobooks for me. I'd rather pay the 38 a year to have all access to their audiobooks rather than that
Yeah, a
other
lot
big
cheaper.
name company and pay monthly.
Yeah, and I thought I wasn't supporting the authors with the library, so I felt a little bad, especially with the indie authors. But I I was told by an author that that supports them because the libraries buy their books. I was like, oh, well,
Books,
here we
they
go.
see how often it's being taken out, and then maybe they buy more. They see how popular it is.
Mhm.
And the Brooklyn Public Library does the same thing that Kay is saying. You can, if you don't live in Brooklyn, New York, you can get a Brooklyn Public Library card digitally for $50 a year and have access to the books there. My most expensive one is 55 a year.
How nice though. I mean, just to have it, just to have it. I love that. Now wait a minute now. Wait, oh, I'm sorry. The comments came too fast. I wanted to post this one. I had no idea that blacks lived in the libraries back in the day. How awesome that must have been. Most well-read woman that I've met who's in her 80s. It
Wow.
is
Oh,
very interesting.
I want to hear more about that,
I
Tracy.
know.
Wow.
Hmm. I had not heard about that. Now I'm going to have to go online and look that up.
We need to submit Alicia to the Guinness Book of World Records. I'd be willing to try to meet that record. Well, like, forget library holds. So you got
Yeah,
19
because
libraries.
can you imagine what you would be exposed to by having access to all those collections? Because I know my poor little library here in this little town where I live. That's why I belong to three different counties because of my small little library. But wow,
Wow, Tracy is giving us all the library history. I need to know more. This was in New Jersey, Tracy. I have to. I'm about to go to Google.
That's cool.
That's so interesting. And yes, this is absolutely the truth because you'll end up like Kelly and then going book shopping every week. Look at that. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, my
You don't even
bookshelf
see
is
what's
much
behind the
smaller
camera.
because I'm like 90% audiobook and ebook. So
No, well, no, okay. So I was thinking we could get Tracy for Facebook.
yeah, Tracy, we need to hear these library stories.
We
So
need to hear these
please
stories. Tracy,
message us,
are you on
please.
are you on IG? Let us know because we might need to have a conversation. Kelly and Aunt live in a library. They just don't know it. Listen, that is absolutely the truth because you all may not have heard her say this, but she said just a minute or two ago, she said, you ought to see what's behind the camera.
Oh my goodness.
I can
I
only imagine because we see what's behind her. I can only imagine if she flipped the camera around. We're not going to ask you to do
It's
that,
worse.
Kelly.
It's
But
worse. It's just less organized, but it's worse. And today we were in the Bronx. I had to fix the internet connection there, and we're getting a nice little stockpile up there too. And he's like, "Do you know what you have up here?" I was like, "Dang!" I was like, "It's now it's accumulating in another place, and it's it's a problem. It's a problem."
it's not a problem if it's books.
At least some
going
of these are
shopping at
on
Kelly.
shelves. Those are like in bags and some
Yeah.
tables and couch.
The thing about it is, you all actually read. It would be different if you were just buying books for show or just, so people would think, oh, they're these, readers and they're so intelligent. But you all actually are reading these books. I don't know how you do it,
I
but you
can't.
do.
I will never read all the books we own.
Of course, I mean, you will maybe eventually one day, but you read books, and we know that you read these books because you do these author interviews, you have these book discussions, so we know you're reading. But yeah, y'all are collecting and reading. I don't know where you are, but y'all are reading books. So I probably have, no lie, I know I probably have at least 100 in here I haven't read yet. But they keep
But
me
yeah.
they keep me company.
There you go.
So
Right.
obviously we have some interesting facts and information to give you next week on the library talk. So stay tuned.
Oh,
Oh, hey, how's Brazil? Okay, she's coming back from Brazil this week. Safe flight. Okay, okay.
Yes, we are going to be
We chat
following
on
you.
IG all the time.
yeah. Okay, but we just need to know if you're interested in coming on camera to talk about. I mean, that information about the library, that's so interesting. So
Yes, we
if
need
you
all
want,
the
if you're interested in coming on, just hit up BRC on IG in the DMs and let us know if you'd be interested.
so we can get all the Black library history, Black
Good
history in the library.
information. Uh-oh, wait a minute. I have to show this one.
Oh,
Book buying for who?
oh no, 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 we can't do
Who?
that.
I
Nobody's
think that
buying
was
bands.
directed at you, Kelly.
Why is Alicia cursing on Facebook Live and YouTube Live? That's
It's a family show,
blasphemy.
Alicia.
That's just wrong. No habla inglés. I don't understand that. No.
Okay, what?
That's another language. What?
So yeah, we have a lot set up all the way until October of lives and discussions, lots
Yeah.
of bookish stuff. If
We
you
have
are,
some surprises too.
Oh, it's
yes,
cussing, Raymond. It's cussing. It's a cuss. I'm gonna need a drink after this. I think I
yes,
got some wine.
we have fun, we have shade, we have it all, and books.
Yeah. So, just as Summer was saying that we have things pretty much lined up for from now until what, September. Some great things lined up, but for April, as she mentioned on the second, Friends of the Library, that's going to be really really good. And then on the ninth, we're going to have a throwback talking about books published before 2000. Can you believe that 2000 was that long ago that we could say throwback books?
We're not talking about that.
On the 16th, we're going to have a mid-month discussion on the book Yellow Wife by Sadiqa Johnson. And the book is fantastic. I'm really enjoying the book. On the 23rd of April, we are going to have, April is National Poetry Month for those that don't know. And on the 23rd, we're going to have some readings of some poetry that we love, some of our favorite poets. And we have some great guests lined up to attend that live session. And then on the 30th of April, we're going to have a ladies' night poetry slam where several beautiful and talented ladies are going to come on and share some of the poems that they've written. And I will be sharing some of mine that night. So please come back and spend the month of April with us. We'll be so happy to have you.
I am watching the replay next Saturday. It's Anthony's birthday is next Saturday, but
Oh,
I want to watch Sandra's live, so I'm gonna come back and watch it afterwards. But
Yeah, Sandra's great.
and
She is a wealth of
think his birthday,
information.
I'm not gonna make him do a reel. So that's
that's his birthday present.
I won't force him to do a reel that day.
It's like I told you, he's got about three more reels in his spirit, and then he's done with you, Kelly. He's done, done.
This
I'm
is
looking forward to April. Kay, Raymond says Kay is a great
Oh,
poet.
thank you, Raymond.
I gotta dig his
Awesome.
poetry. I'm excited.
But thank you, Kelly, thank you, Kay, thank you all for joining. Thank you for the people who've been watching. And remember to save the date for Black Readers Con. Uh, we'll have the details up uh, in the next month or so for when to visit. Oh, where we're going to be in New York, and you can also save the date for clear your schedule to be virtual if you can't make it to New York, October 28th to the 30th.
Raymond said Anne has no reels in his spirit.
Three, Raymond. He's got at least three more, and then he's done. And then he's
And if you want to know what we're talking about, check Kels is booked up on IG. She will have you rolling with her reels. Also, Kate the Reader has the reels. She had one with my favorite group, New Edition, the music. Yes, definitely check out Black Readers Con on all the social media. We have a lot of fun on IG and to join us for our weekly lives. But thanks for joining. And thanks all for chatting and
everybody.
and joining us for the mysteries and thrillers. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.